relationship with famed architect Alistair Mackenzie. Pasatiempo in Santa Cruz was her third development, where she hosted the likes of Bobby Jones, Will Rogers, Babe Saharias, and more. Today, her place is alongside many others in the World Golf Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Marion Hollins, a visionary golf course architect and pioneer of the game. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports 1140. Feeding your passion for local sports in the afternoon. It's the Drive Guys on your radio at 1140 a.m.
Streaming audio at SactownSports.com and the Sactown Sports app.
You can also watch the show on YouTube at Sactown Sports 1140. Here are the Drive Guys.
Today, it's me, Whitey Gleason, and Kyle Ledbetter helping out. Thank you, Kyle, for sticking around. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be a drive guy for a couple minutes.
Yay! Brendan Nunes going to join us in about 10 minutes. We've got, of course, the early bird special tonight, the Kings and the Pacers. So just a truncation sensation of a show. We have one segment today, Kyle. Is that correct?
We have 20 minutes.
20 minutes. We better get started.
Let's make the most of it.
I thought that the win over the Heat was full of surprises. First of all, just a surprise when the Kings win. Surprise anytime they win at Miami. Surprise they won by as many points as they won. Maybe we shouldn't have been surprised. Did you know that the Kings' last 3 victories have come against a team playing on the second night of a back-to-back?
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, I believe so. You got the Warriors, and then was it Denver, and then Miami on Saturday. Not the case tonight, but of course the Pacers shorthanded. And what's the update, Kyle? I know you and Alan Stiles were talking about Herr Schroeder and Keegan Murray, both questionable is the latest?
Yes, they are both questionable. We were hoping maybe there'd be an injury report beforehand, but we don't have it. So maybe they'll have it for game night, or G-Man will update us when we get close to the game.
Keegan with a sore trapezius muscle, which is a muscle in the shoulder. So hopefully he's okay. I can't help but wonder if, maybe he could go, but you don't want to win too many games at this point, but that's just me. I was also surprised, speaking of surprises, how strongly a lot of people reacted to what Zach LaVine apparently said to a reporter kind of in passing after the win Saturday. Huge night from Zach LaVine. Maybe he does sense that, look, if I'm going to play my way out of this mess, I've just got to shoot a lot, and I've got to make shots and show other teams that I'm worth the effort to acquire. I don't know. But I was surprised that when someone asked him, and I know you guys talked to the reporter today who asked him the question, or you got his response. You didn't talk to him.
We got some clarification.
Got some clarification, yes. And the reporter said, how about your big night? And Zach LaVine said, well, I'd do that every night if they gave me the damn ball, right? And a lot of fans, maybe you right now listening, a lot of fans like, how dare he say that? I don't know. To me, Kyle, I just feel like that is a big nothing burger. And I know there's a lot of issues right now with the Kings, what direction they're headed in, how they're going to get out from under these contracts. They want Zach LaVine to play a certain way. Maybe he's not comfortable playing that way. I understand there are issues there. But a basketball player having a big night and then being asked about it and saying, I do that all the time, they gave me the ball, that's like every basketball player ever would say that.
Yeah, and the reporter earlier who Alan talked to said it was kind of more tongue-in-cheek than it was an insinuation that something's wrong. But, yeah, I mean, look, all of these guys have feelings about how this season has gone. And if you're Zach LaVine and saying, if I get the ball more, I can do this, well, against the Rockets, he sat the last 17 and a half minutes of the game. So, of course, Zach thinks that he's being done wrong, because he is being done wrong to a certain extent, maybe for the best of the organization. So, I read nothing into what he said. Maybe he's upset. Maybe all these guys are upset. They're on a losing basketball team where their futures are uncertain. It's not good vibes.
Yeah, maybe it was just a quip, like, oh, I do it all the time. Maybe anybody would say that. Or maybe it was, to a degree, a reflection of the fact that he's frustrated. He should be frustrated. Everybody should be frustrated. But I think people reacting so strongly, again, shows that Zach LaVine has become a symbol in the minds of some fans of just about everything that's wrong right now with the Kings. I'm not sure how that started. I know we talked about this last week. I'm sure a lot of that is because he's making the most money. And because he has kind of pushed back a little bit on the program when he mentioned, hey, you wouldn't ask Rudy Gobert to go out and score 30 points I think it's unfortunate. I don't think it's necessary. And I think maybe fans also are getting their clues a little bit from the organization. You go back to before Scott Perry was hired, he would have never said this, I realize, if he knew he was going to be the GM of the Kings. But the current GM had said, of course, famously on a podcast, don't forget my podcast, he also said, yeah, Zach LaVine.
Don't forget my podcast.
Yes, we will never forget your podcast because of what you said about Zach LaVine. So, you've got that. Fans look at that and they go, okay, that's how the guy really feels about this. You had people asking Doug Christie about Zach LaVine and effort offensively and defensively. And Coach Christie said just a couple weeks ago, he said, yeah, you don't want struggles on the offensive end to affect your defensive effort, which was kind of a way of saying, yeah, he doesn't always give his best effort. So I understand fans looking at all that and being angry, but not so angry with Zach LaVine, Kyle. I think it's a little unfair. It's understandable. It's very frustrating, but I think in a lot of ways he's being unfairly singled out.
I do think that's fair, especially coming off of a game that is supposed to be so celebratory.
Yes, right. Yeah, and instead of, wow, he had a big night, it's, but did you hear what he said after the game? He said he could do that all the time. It's a reflection of how I think as Kings fans right now, we're trying to figure out what exactly is going on.
I don't think anyone knows exactly what's going on, but it seems like everyone did not take very kindly to Zach LaVine's comments, even though, as we mentioned, Alan talked to the guy earlier, and he said it was kind of more of a tongue-in-cheek. They didn't get to talk to him at the postgame, so this was when they were on the way to the bus, apparently, and he just kind of chatted him up real quick.
Sure, yeah.
Before, and this was a note that Alan had mentioned at one point from the guy, before he could ask anything else, someone from the basketball ops yelled at him to turn around and go to the bus. So it was a very brief interaction between Zach and this reporter for the Heat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the Kings tonight against the Pacers, early one, as we know. I do think the real takeaway from that game, while Zach LaVine stole all the headlines, both during and a little bit after the game, the big story, of course, for the Kings is the way Maxime, Raynaud, and Nique Clifford played. That's the first time they've both put up numbers in a game, right? That's
I believe so.
Yeah, double digits for both of them. That's encouraging to me. The win is they needed a win, but whoa, win or lose, Zach LaVine scores 42 or not, when you have both of those guys having big games, and it was against a team that played the night before and was shorthanded. That to me is very encouraging. That's where you start to feel like, ooh, maybe I can see through the haze and the Thule fog a glimpse of what this team might start to look like, maybe even before the end of this season. That's fun.
Can we break out the Whitey Gleason checklist again? How many of those were accomplished?
Good point. Yes.
They lost positioning in the draft.
Right.
But you also saw promise from the young guys.
Yep, going in order, starting with, did any of the young guys play well? Check, right? That's 2 checks.
2 big checks.
2 double checks. You get 4 checks, you're doing well. So you start with 2 there. Did any of the veterans who you might want to move put up numbers that might draw the interest of another team?
Check.
It's like 42 checks, right?
Yeah. 42 nice ones.
Let's see. Was the game compelling at all? Was it interesting at all? Or at least half of it?
Sure.
Yeah, I think if you're a Kings fan, they were winning, right?
Yeah. I mean, no matter how bad the team is, when I see somebody score basically 30 points in a half, I feel very compelled by their performance.
Mm-hmm. I think if you were a Miami fan, you'd probably feel the other way, like, that was a terrible game. But for Kings fans, it certainly was entertaining. And then, as you say, fourth and finally, although they're in no particular order necessarily, but did the Kings maintain or improve their lottery position? No, they didn't, but that's okay. We still had, I was kidding about 42 checks for Zach LaVine. Give him one, and then you still got a 4-check game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
As long as you're getting Max and Nique Clifford playing well, I feel like that's a win, because I've been making this point during the people have brought up, what a brutal 20-game stretch. They're going to win a couple of these games by accident. Either someone's going to have a crazy game like Zach LaVine did, or some other team's going to shoot poorly from the field, have an off night. The Kings are going to win some of these games by accident. The worst team in NBA history still won 1 out of every 8 games.
That was the 76ers?
It was either them or
9-73 76ers in 1973, 72 or 73.
I believe that is true, but worst winning percentage was the Hornets during the lockout season or something like that.
Was it the Hornets or the Charlotte Bobcats?
It might have still been the Bobcats. I know they then lost the lottery and got, I think, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, but it was that year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Brendan Nunes is going to join us in just a moment here, by the way, as we get ready for your game night tipping off in about 20 minutes here. As far as that positioning for the lottery, the Kings right now, 5th at 6-17. So as of right now, they'd have a 39.9% chance of being in the top 4 and a 9.8% chance of being number 1 overall. High Flyers stepping in. Make yourself comfortable, Henry. Yeah, we're getting ready for an early edition of game night. So that was a fun one, and we'll see what happens tonight. This game, by the way, you probably know this, but I got tripped up a little bit because I was checking the schedule today. The schedule that came out, when the schedules came out, Peacock game. Nope, not a Peacock game. The game tonight is on NBC Sports California because they flexed out of the Pacers and the Kings on Peacock.
They said we don't actually want Sabonis versus Halliburton if it's not going to be Sabonis or Halliburton.
Right. So I was trying to record the game today, but, on NBC Sports California, they have something else listed because this game wasn't originally going to be on there. So anyway, be that as it may, I'm sure we'll sort it all out. That's the main thing, Henry. You can always listen to the games. The game on Amazon Prime, MEC, Peacock. I don't know, but you can always listen to it on Sactown Sports.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Since day one.
Yeah. With
the one and only.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Gary Gerald.
Joining us right now is the one and only Brendan Nunes stepping in. How are you today, Brendan? You ready for this early game?
I'm doing well, fellas. I'm ready to watch some what's sure to be electric Sacramento Kings basketball.
Wow. Henry, that sounded a little sarcastic, didn't it?
It did have a little twang on the end of it, didn't it? like a mustard sandwich.
Yeah, a little bit. Zach LaVine stealing the show, of course, Brendan, but how encouraging is it, big picture, the way Maxime, Raynaud, and Nique Clifford played in the same game?
Yeah, I think it's good to be letting those guys play through their mistakes. Max is putting a lot of things on tape offensively that I think are really encouraging, and I still think there's a lot of work that needs to be done defensively. More often than not, the opposing teams are going to be like, hey, give me that guy, and they've tried to drop with him. They've tried showing, switching, and I think trying all those different things, getting that on tape for him to be able to review is probably the most promising thing you can do right now for his long-term development. And Nique is a guy that I think he's just an NBA player ready to go right now. He does a little bit of everything, whether it's rebounding, the playmaking that he has, and his ability off a live dribble to dish dimes with either hand, I think is really impressive. Want to see him be a little bit more aggressive. That's something that Doug Christie had talked about in previous weeks, that he had a conversation with him about, hey, we need you to have more of an attacking mindset here. And I think that you've seen that shift a little bit more. So nothing better that could happen for those young guys than get reps out there, and you're seeing them continue to develop and get better game by game.
Mm-hmm. Now, Brandon, when you talk about the young guys getting a chance out there, it was one of those situations to where we had a chance to see both of them out in Vegas. I had a chance to see Nique and Max, and Max really impressed me from the beginning. We're in a smaller venue. We never did play in Thomas and Mack. We always played in the smaller gym. So, but you could hear that dude screaming. I mean, just literally screaming all over the gym on the defensive side. So I think defensively, he will get it. I mean, right now, he's a rookie and he's getting outsized by these guys. That happens to almost every rookie that comes in that's pretty much undersized and don't have their muscles developed. These dudes are very much younger than when we came in the game. But I will tell you this, he looked very polished on the offensive side then. So I knew if he had a chance, he was going to be able to get out there and look at least halfway decent as a 7-footer.
100%. And I think that you're seeing that. I was out there in Summer League too, and as you mentioned, you could hear him every single game. That was maybe the biggest highlight that everybody was talking about with him. And I talked to his Stanford head coach, Kyle Smith, and defensively, I mean, he was their leading scorer offensively. And so coach was telling him essentially, we need you to not get in foul trouble. He was getting coached to, take it easy, essentially a little bit defensively, because we need you on the offensive end. And that is so vastly different than what his role is going to be in the NBA. So as a smart player, somebody that communicates as that backline guy, like you're pointing out, Henry, I think those are all promising signs. Still need to continue to see that growth, but he's got the size for it. And I think that the most promising thing really is his intelligence on that end of the floor, and that being able to translate to, they'll figure out eventually what the most ideal coverage is for him. And again, I think it's a good process to be trying to figure all that out right now. But I think he does have so many things that, Scott Perry's big thing is, hey, we're trying to build an identity. And I think a lot of it is betting on the person just as much of the player. And I think that's where a lot of the confidence comes from in Max with a lot of things. Doug Christie joked pregame the other day about how Max's parents did a great job, and I think betting on the person just as much as the player here is a big part of a lot of this.
It's Brendan Nunes. We got, of course, the high flyer with us, Kyle Ledbetter, keeping us on the air. I thought I was going to be by myself today, and I've got so many friends. You were just mentioning, Henry, how important it is on defense to be communicating. Mm-hmm. I used to scream on defense too when I played in high school. Help! Help! Switch! So I was also communicating.
I was about to say, it's like you was getting beat a lot. You wasn't guarding nobody one-on-one with the ball.
Switch, Team defender.
Yeah.
But you know what, though? Here's the thing, Whitey. Even if you're getting beat on ball, what the problem the Kings are having is that when that guy gets beat on ball, he stops.
Yeah.
And watches everybody else. And he's screaming, help, switch.
Yeah.
But it's 5-on-4.
Right.
If you get beat off the dribble like that, okay, the next man is gonna step up. The bottom man is gonna rotate over. You got to rotate all the way down and catch whatever is left over.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, who's ever in that dunker's position, it's barbecue chicken.
Right.
And what I'll add to that, Henry, is I think that there isn't a confidence that those guys do have your back. You know what I mean? Like you see OKC, and obviously this is the prime example, but they pressure the ball like crazy because they have so much confidence in their backline help. Mm-hmm. And I just don't think that there is internal confidence, to be honest, that, hey, if I miss my spot, then I better hustle to the next because somebody else has got my back. Like they have not proven that that is the case up to this point.
Brendan, how about, I'm reluctant to go here because I know people are just going to roll their eyes. Jonathan Kuminga, DNP last night. Should we make anything of that?
I mean, I think that it's definitely something, it's very funny to have a lot of Kuminga conversations because I have a lot of Warriors, grew up in the Bay Area. I have a lot of Warriors fans in my life, and everybody thinks that they're going to get quite a haul for Jonathan Kuminga. I don't think that's probably going to be the case when a guy is getting DNPs, just the nature of how that may go. But it's certainly somebody that I think people should be keeping tabs on. There's a history of the Kings being interested in these guys. And if you look at the roster imbalance, the log jam that Doug Christie talks about all the time, it's kind of funny to think about, man, if that Kuminga trade would have gone through, this would look a little bit different, and so part of me wonders how much they were already factoring that into their offseason plan, because it seemed like that was very much a serious conversation and something they were pursuing. So definitely something I'm keeping tabs on. And when you see these DNPs or not playing in the fourth quarter and his agents tweeting out, what are we doing here? Like, yeah, definitely something to monitor on my end too.
Here's the latest on that from Mark J. Spears. And Mark J. Spears, as you guys I'm sure will remember, he was the one that had an inkling that DeMar DeRozan was coming here before anybody. In fact, I remember, Brendan, I was on the air with you, and we were going, DeMar DeRozan's not coming here, but sure enough, he did. But here's what Mark J. Spears says about Kuminga. Quote, Malik Monk might still be available in a package, but the previously included first-round pick is no longer expected to be part of Sacramento's offer, end quote. You keep an eye on that, Henry?
Okay. Mm-hmm. The one thing that steps out first with that is the first round pick is not included.
Yeah.
So that means that the Sacramento Kings really now are trying to keep youth close to their vest.
Yeah.
Okay. Haven't came out and officially said it, but before it was Malik Monk and a pick, to try to make this team better right now. I think when the Kings start talking about, okay, well, we're willing to move off of some players, but we're not willing to move off the picks.
Yeah.
That lets you know what direction they're going in.
And it's also possible, isn't it, Brendan, that maybe the Kings don't think as highly of Kuminga as they did before the season started.
Yeah, I mean, I would be curious, truth serum, how much they truly believe in Jonathan Kuminga as a player, to be honest. I think it's the principle of it is why Kuminga makes a lot of sense. I'm not the highest Kuminga guy, but I do think that this team lacks a lot of future talent and young players and with true upside. And Kuminga very much has that. It's almost a scenario where I'm kind of thinking they're not going to be that great for a little bit here. So you might as well take some flyers and see if you can optimize some of these young talents, because there's an all-star somewhere in Jonathan Kuminga if you can fine-tune things, right? He's just pretty inefficient right now, kind of plays a little bit of his own style of basketball compared to what they run, a lot of the freelance and free-flowing offense that Golden State runs. And while his style isn't the most conducive to Sacramento's play either, you let him spread his wings, let him play through the mistakes, what we're talking about with Maxime and these other guys. And so I do think there is a level of intrigue there. To me, I think it's also a credit to the Kings because previously we've seen them be a little bit reactionary in my mind and jumping on things too quickly. And if the Warriors were a hard stance at, hey, we want a first round pick, like the Warriors honestly didn't have the leverage to really be asking for that. And I'd imagine that's why Kuminga is still in Golden State right now. And so I would say that it's almost a credit to Sacramento to realize, hey, we don't need to give you a first round pick. And you're going to realize that eventually. And I think that we're at that point.
You know what, Brandon, let me give you two scenarios and tell me which one sounds the best for you. I look at two scenarios for the Sacramento Kings. If you're trying to get better now and still trying to make that push and maybe want to get into the play-in and see what you can do from there, I would say probably Jonathan Kuminga might be the guy for you. Now, tell me if I'm crazy. If you're looking at, okay, we're going to look at our youth, we're going to look at the future, we need to bring probably another all-star caliber type guy here. We're going to get rid of our veterans, and we're going to keep these young guys and try to find a guy to build around. How crazy would it be if the Kings are looking at Ja Morant?
I think it's one of the things I worry about, to be honest, a little bit, because, again, I think it's fast-tracking the timeline a little bit. And Kuminga kind of plays into that a little bit as well, right? Like, to me, I think the best way to do this personally is a full reset. But I also am aware that this organization does not want to do that. And it's understandable given the history of this team. But I do think Ja is just kind of trying to fast track it a little bit too much. Like, does he get you to the point where you are legitimately competitive in the Western Conference? Obviously not right now, but eventually when you get some other surrounding pieces and things like that, then maybe. But I personally think what is going to, for lack of a better term, save this franchise is a high draft pick. And I would worry that you go trade for Ja Morant and he makes you just good enough to not have the greatest pick, but not good enough to where you're actually competing in like serious competitors in the Western Conference. And maybe I'm not putting enough stock into just being a competitive basketball team and what that means to the city. And I could be overlooking that for sure. But personally, I just think it's fast tracking the process a little bit right now.
And it's like Scott Perry said, no shortcuts. I'm with you, Brendan. Thank you for your time. Of course, great Kings coverage. Sactownsports.com and our Kings insider, one of our fine insiders, Brendan Nunes. Thanks for your time, Brendan. We appreciate it. Enjoy the game.
Appreciate you guys. You got a lot of friends, by the way, Whitey.
I know. It's great.
I don't know. He might need better friends.
Thank you, Brendan. High Flyer.
Yes,
Let
sir.
me ask you about a guy that I've been watching and thinking, man, I knew this guy was, an NBA player, but he looks good. Precious Achiuwa. Is he a player, or does he just look like a player because he does things that nobody else on the Kings can do right now?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah?
I think it's a little bit of both. What Precious is doing, I honestly think IJ probably could have gave you the same type of productivity out there on the floor.
Really?
Yeah, I was very high on IJ. Mm-hmm. And especially when you start talking about the youth and the next wave of Sacramento Kings player, I really thought that he was able to give you, some meaningful minutes off the bench. I thought that we kept IJ instead of Trey, instead of Trey Lyles because of the youth movement. Because Trey Lyles really helped his basketball team.
Yeah, he's a solid player.
And he was a legitimate stretch four.
Mm-hmm.
See, and he really got it done for us. Another guy that had a high basketball IQ. So when we let Trey Lyles go, I'm like, okay, well, they're looking at youth movement. They're looking at, maybe a little bit more athleticism. I thought IJ was the guy. But, they let him go, and now we see Precious here. He's doing a decent job. Being able to grab rebounds, block a couple of shots, give us something down low.
He's definitely got more presence as an NBA player than IJ did, just by virtue of the fact that he's played in the league. He's played in the playoffs, and he has a better idea of what he's doing.
Yeah, a little bit taller. A little bit taller. And maybe likes the physicality a little bit more.
You optimistic tonight? I don't have any idea what to expect with this team night tonight.
Bro, we just beat Miami. Did you ever think that was going to happen?
I did not.
Exactly. So I have no idea what's going to happen tonight.
I just want to see the young players continue to play well.
Hopefully the team will get an identity. That's the first thing I'm looking for, an identity. We got young players that's playing well. Okay, Zach just stepped his game up. The starting five did what they needed to do against Miami. But do we still have an identity on how we're going to play? No, it's let's see what we get tonight.
Thank you, High Flyer, for helping us out. Once a drive guy, always a drive guy.
You know what? You got at least one good friend.
I appreciate that. Yeah, the High Flyer will be right back with you for game night coming up next on Sactown Sports.
This Sponsor the Clock is brought to you by Light the World Giving Machine.
The Drive Guys, weekdays 2 p.m. to 6 p.m.
on Sactown Sports 1140.
Well, it turns out there are a lot of holiday songs that talk about just staying warm. The weather outside, chestnuts roasting, all that stuff. Well, that serves as a great reminder that it's time for heater and furnace tune-ups and maintenance, and Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating will make sure you're ready right now at leesair.com. Check out this offer, $100 off any AC heating or plumbing repair. It's not just about keeping your home comfy. It's about making sure your system functions efficiently. We got a new HVAC system from Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating last winter. Our system works great, saves us money. You want a company you can trust? A company with 40 years of experience, a company that's going to treat you right? You want Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating. They took care of us last winter, so I know they're going to take care of you. Same day, next day appointments are available. Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating are your go-to experts for all things related to heating, ventilation, AC, and plumbing. When the weather, you want to stay warm, but you don't want to burn money to do it. Make sure your home is comfy and energy efficient all year long with Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating. License number 635355.
If a Lenovo computer for your business is on your holiday list, don't shop around. Just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com. It's your last chance to get exclusive deals on the PCs you want for your business, like the ThinkPad X9 14 Aura Edition and Yoga 7i 2-in-1. So avoid all that shopping chaos and price comparing, and just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com, where PCs are up to 35% off. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. Hey, nice job, Pete. I like those clean lines. Fellas, do we have anyone that can get to Greenport today?
At Corey's Landscaping, the staffing plan is in the weeds.
Anthony, we need that leaf blower over here. 3 more new customer requests just came in. Who wants to work some overtime?
He needs to dig up quality landscapers, and fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.